Hey, vets and families, it's Craig here, and I want to invite you to a video series that I'm doing, and I'm calling it Write It Right. 7 Proven Ways to Win Your VA Claim with Lay and Buddy Statements. The Buddy Statement, or the Lay Statement, particularly the veteran's personal statement, is perhaps one of the most important parts of a VA claim. It's the veteran's opportunity to tell their story about the injuries that they sustained or incurred while on active duty. Now, before we get into the series, there's one thing that I want to note about both buddy and lay statements, personal statements, witness statements from the veteran. When a veteran has someone write a witness statement for them or a buddy statement for them, it has to go on a VA form called the VA form 21-TAC 10210. This is the lay or witness statement. And then when the veteran writes their own personal statement, it has to go on a form called the VA form 21-4138. It's the statement in support of claim. Now, in this particular statement, the veteran again has a chance to list not only the thing that happened to them, but then any diagnosis or any documentation or any medical doctor's visits or prescription drugs that they've taken for that particular incident that occurred while they were on active duty. What this helps to do is establish a nexus between the veteran service and what they're experiencing now so that they can win compensation on their claim. And once the veteran writes this letter and includes it into their packet, it becomes a part of their overall claim, whether they're submitting an initial claim or whether they're submitting a supplemental claim. Now, it's important to note that I'm going to provide in this video series different styles, different techniques on how to write your statements. But regardless of what style or technique that you choose, it's important that each veteran make sure that they provide specific examples of how their condition or their injury specified during service absolutely affects their daily normal functioning life. And whenever you write a statement and submit it to the VA, as always, you have to sign and date that statement to verify accuracy that it's actually you that's writing a claim. Now, I also want to let you know that this series is not just to be able to write better letters in order to win VA compensation claims, although that definitely is the goal and the primary aim. But the ultimate aim, and our ultimate aim here at Royal Rock Counseling and Consulting, is that we help veterans have the opportunity and develop the skills to be able to express themselves better and to be able to live better lives post military service. And so doing this series and helping you be able to express your feelings and thoughts and put pen to paper on what's going on in your mind, it's going to help you in professional, occupational, emotional, mental, and physical spaces in every other area of life. So if you like this content, if you enjoy what we're doing here at Royal Rock Wellness, what I want you to do is I'd like you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment on the video, and share it with other veterans who might need these tools and resources in order not just to get good VA compensation claims, but in order to level up and be the very best version of themselves that they can be. I believe in you. I want you to win. I'll be offering free resources and guides. And if you need help with any part of your VA claim, or if you need help with any coaching or counseling issues, I'm here for you to make sure that you live royally and live well. I want you to take care of your families, sit back, relax, and enjoy this series that we're bringing to you. Hey, vets and families, it's Craig. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, listen, it's really encouraging to see all of the support that I'm getting on the channel. Really appreciate you guys here at Royal Rock Wellness for liking and subscribing and asking questions and sharing this video with your veteran friends and family and everybody who is out there trying to look for information and trying to look for claim guidance. So happy of the support that we're getting. We're growing exponentially, and it's all because of you. So if you're ready to reclaim your purpose, strengthen your relationships, and start to live royally and live well, you are in the right place at the right time to get what you need to be able to do that. Listen, I had a very minor setback here recently. You know, it's one of those YouTube things where I actually recorded a whole video for you. And man, I really thought it was a really good video as well. But I had some technical difficulties in the recording software for whatever reason. But you know, we are in the military, right? And we're Marines. So I'm a Marine. So one of the things they teach us in the Marine Corps is to learn how to adapt and
overcome. So that's what we're going to do. I know each branch of service has a certain type of motto that they go by when they encounter challenges. That just happens to be the Marine Corps. One of the Marine Corps mottos where we adapt and overcome. We're going to do it. We're not going to allow that to stop us because we got veterans out here who need help. We got veterans out here who are trying to do claims. They are trying to get the benefits that they need, the benefits that they deserve. We're going to do our very best to make sure that that happens. So we are back with another video. Thank you so much. If you like the content we're doing, as always, like, share, and subscribe. And we're so happy to have you over here at Royal Rock Wellness. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most formidable types of lay statements that you can write. It is the functional impact statement. This is where you show the VA exactly what your condition, how your condition limits your everyday life. Now, we've talked a little bit about how your conditions limit your everyday life in ADLs. That's activities of daily living. But in this particular video, we're going to get deeper into ADLs, activities of daily living, and how your functional statement centers on activities of daily living as a style of writing your lay statement. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing we have to think about is what is the purpose of a functional impact statement? We've talked about statements before on this channel. In this series, we've already discussed narrative lay statements. We've already discussed these other statements. And so let's define the purpose of a functional impact statement. Well, the first thing it does is it explains what you can't do anymore. When you write a functional impact statement, you are essentially saying to the VA, there were things I could do before, and now there are things that I am not able to do. This is a loss of functionality, whether that's in your body, mind, soul, or spirit. Remember, we always talk about those elements in those areas. Body, mind, soul, and spirit. There are things that I used to be able to do that I no longer can do. Also, it shows daily limitations. I think we've talked ad nauseum and ad infinitum about activities of daily living. So it shows what you're limited in your capacity to do when you decide to write a functional impact statement. That's what it shows. And then it connects to work impairment. Okay. Um, Particularly when we start thinking about uh, TDUI, things like unemployability, things like aid in attendance, things like homebound, all of those types of things. And as you move in that direction, as you get older, it's going to be really important to talk about how your activities of daily living and your activities of everyday life is impacted when you try to go to work. Okay. And so writing functional statements prepares you for that as well. And so instead of just describing the injury or the diagnosis, this kind of statement, this functional impact lay statement, it paints the picture of how your condition shows up in your daily life and on your job. Okay, so that's what the functional impact statement is, and that's the purpose of it. All right, so we're going to move on to the golden question. Now, this is a question that every veteran has to ask themselves when they're writing a functional lay statement. It says, what can't I do anymore because of my condition? Now, when we talk about functional lay statements, we're really talking in the negative, right? Some statements you talk in positive. In the functional lay statement, you begin to talk in the negative, and you sort of stay there, right, with regard to what you are not able to do. So it's a can't statement, right? It's on that other end of the spectrum. And so you want to keep your answers in specific and simple when you're writing a functional lay statement. Here's an example of a statement that you can put in your functional lay statement. I can't stand longer than 15 minutes without severe back pain. Okay. Remember, you are focusing on what you're no longer able to do. And so in this particular example, I cannot stand longer than 15 minutes without severe back pain. It could be that you can't sit longer than 15 minutes for whatever condition that you have that's connected to service. In this particular case, it's just you can't stand. It could be that are no longer able to bend in certain areas or pick up your kids, or I'm no longer able to pick up just the normal things that are light, right, around the house, right? I am. I've lost the functionality to even be able to help around my home. Can't do yard work, can't do anything like that, can't take out the trash, those things. Because the VA needs to see practical impact, not just the medical name. Don't just take whatever diagnosis you were given and slap it in your statement, right? Be explanatory in what you are talking about when you write these statements. Remember, somebody's reading these statements and they don't see you. So you've got to paint a picture of actually what's going on with you. All right. And so, with that in mind, let's talk about activities of daily living. You might talk about things like dressing, bathing, grooming, cooking, cleaning, laundry. We talked about a little bit earlier about that a little bit earlier. Driving, walking, lifting, groceries. These are all things that speak to what you would normally be able to do, but that you are now not functionally able to do because of the injury stemming from military service. So if your condition makes these things harder than possible, you want to put that directly in your statement. The VA uses this info to judge how disabling your condition is. Listen, be simple, guys. Be and gals. Be simple, be plain, be clear. Talk specifically about what's going on with you. Make sure that you are giving detail, but you don't have to be very long and winded in your detail. That's sometimes a problem that I have. Sometimes I tend to be very long winded. But one of the things that I'm learning in my life, and one of the things that I will continue to learn, is brevity, right? Brevity and simplicity rules the day, particularly when you're writing a statement to someone who's only going to see it probably for a few moments before they move to the next claim or the next record. So you want to make sure that you make it hard or if these things are hard or impossible for you to do, put that in your statement. Okay. They're going to use that info to judge your condition and how it impacts your daily life. So let's talk about occupational limitations. You want to talk about the fact that you can't sit or stand for long, the fact that you may have trouble concentrating, right? This is going to be particularly helpful when we start talking about mental health claims, right? And mental degradation or claims like TBI, right? Where there may be something happening in your cognitive or functional capacity in your brain, those kinds of things, right? Missing work due to symptoms. Hey, listen, I keep calling out of work because something's going on with my ability to be able to concentrate, my ability to be able to focus on tasks. Here's an example. I was written up for being late because my meds make me groggy in the morning. I couldn't get up. Couldn't get up. Got to take the meds, but I couldn't get up. Right. So they wrote me up because I couldn't get up and actually get to work on time. And so that resulted in a derogatory performance report from me. If your condition prevents you from keeping steady work, the VA definitely has to consider that in your rating. And remember earlier we talked about TDUI, um, which is temporary unemployability, right? We talked about those kinds of things. You want to make sure that writing the functional statement leads you into that if you're not able to keep steady work. And for those of you who aren't able to keep steady work, I want to let you know that there are ways in which you can describe that in your letter, right? And I want you to know that you should maintain your dignity, even though you may not be able to keep steady work. I know a lot of us find our identity in our work, but it's really important for us to understand when we have had a debilitating disability or condition, something happened to us, an event or injury occurred in service, it's okay to file for these types of claims, realizing that we are no longer able to function in that capacity. All right, so let's talk about social relationships and impact. You can talk about things like, man, I can't play with my kids or grandkids anymore, right? I enjoy them, right? I used to be able to run around, get on the floor with them. I can't even do that anymore. I have a strained marriage due to irritability and pain. A lot of people talk about when they try to submit statements about marital problems or marital issues that they are having. They submit statements along the lines of, man, we're having problems in our marriage because I'm in the military. That's much too vague, right? You want to talk more about how the military is affecting your ability to function in your marriage in a normal and healthy and vibrant way. Okay. Some of you may be asking why, how I'm able to kind of separate those two things and dissect them. In my work as a therapist, I've actually seen strained marriages due to military deployments, military missions, military involvement. at home, both at home and abroad. And so it's just something that really, really has an effect on one's ability to make connections with whether that be romantically with your spouse, whether that be in relationships with fiance or significant others, or they're just being friendships. Difficult to connect when you are always on mission, always on deployment, always thinking about the next military thing that you have to do. Because when you're in the military, it's mission first, and then your family comes second. So, strained marriage due to irritability, which lends more to a mental health concern or pain, or both, connecting to both. And we're going to do much more. We're going to talk much more about secondary ratings, avoiding friends or gatherings. And remember, the VA doesn't look at your body, just look at your body. They look at how your condition affects your whole life. That includes your relationships and social activities. And I want to camp here just for one moment. A lot of times people just separate into, okay, this is my physical, this is my mental. But what we've been saying on this channel, right, is we want to look at the deterioration of our bodies in a holistic way. We want to look at it from the perspective of mental, physical, emotional, social, occupational, financial, right? And the list goes on and on depending on what you have going on in your life. But all of us have those spheres that we work out of. So when you're thinking about doing your claim, think about it in all aspects of your wholeness and wellness. Okay. So that's what the VA looks at. Avoiding friends and gatherings is another one I wanted to kind of peek out at. A lot of times, particularly if we have mental health concerns, we may not necessarily want to do the things that we used to want to do. It's not because we don't love that person, but remember, we're writing a functional statement. So the functionality of our relationship has now changed with regard to how we interact with that person because of what we experienced in the military. It could be a trigger or something else, but that has affected us. You want to make sure you put that in your statement. Here are the conditions that are great for these kinds of statements. You want to talk about musculoskeletal, knees, backs, and shoulders, neurological, TBI, migraines, and seizures, mental health conditions like PTSD, depression, and anxiety. Remember, family, vets and families, remember knees, back, shoulder, TBI, migraine, seizure, PTSD, depression, anxiety. All of these things, in a lot of ways, are related, right? Um, And so these are the types of things that you want to talk about in terms of functionality. On the mental health aspect and even in the neurological aspect, sometimes we don't think of our brains or our emotions and things like that as things that need to function in healthy ways. But they are. And so these are some of the conditions and claims that are good. Functional statements are especially powerful when conditions aren't always visible on paper, but they are very real in daily life. Here's some mistakes to avoid when you are writing functional A statements. Being too vague, you don't want to just say I struggle every day. You can't just be like, every day I'm struggling. You can't just put that in your statement. You actually have to say, listen, I struggle with this thing every day, right? I struggle to do XYZ every day. You don't want to forget to connect to specific activities of daily living or work tasks. And you don't want to leave out how it impacts your relationships, right? Because we are talking about the holistic being here: mind, body, soul, spirit, emotions, physical, mental, social, occupational, those kinds of things. Think in those terms when you're writing these statements. Don't just say it's hard. Say exactly what's hard and why it's hard. Here's a writing tip. Write it in the first person. Remember, you always want to say I. You want to write in first person. I can't do this. I am unable to do that. I hurt when I do this. I no longer am able to function in this capacity because of what I have experienced. Always write in first person when you're writing these statements. Be honest and specific. Remember, we talked about current, accurate, and complete. You can't be current, accurate, and complete if you're trying to claim something that did not happen to you. Currentness means everything you're doing is in the here and now, right? It's up. You have updated records, right? You have records that are some of your records might be historic, but with regard to current diagnoses, you have updated records. You have records that are current, and then you have records that are accurate, right? It's got the right stuff in there. You're claiming the right things, right? You're associating your military service that's that nexus or that event that happened in service with an injury. And then complete. Have everything. Make sure that the VSR didn't have to look for anything when they sit down and review your record. All right. So CAC, current, accurate, and complete. And you always want to make sure you sign and date your statement. That's a theme that you will also hear on this channel. Everything you do, you want to sign and date it, whether you are submitting a claim via fax or mail, or even whether you are submitting a claim via electronic means, right? We've talked about that a little bit before on this channel. There's no harm in submitting a signed document when you're submitting. There's going to be a place to upload documents, whether you're submitting it on va.gov or quick submit. Always going to be a place for you to put those documents, or the supplemental claims portal that the VA has. Doesn't matter. Don't be afraid to sign documents and upload those documents. Remember, this isn't about exaggerating. It's about truthfully showing the VA how your condition impacts your life. I want to thank you all for watching. If you found this video helpful, I want you to let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. We are building a community here, Vets and Families, and a great community it already is, and a greater community it's going to be. And it won't be that community without you. I have loved bringing these videos and bringing this information to you. And I will continue to do so, because I know that it's in you. It's in you to write these letters. It's in you to submit these claims. You just need some guidance. You need some help along the way, as we all do, because no man is an island and we all need community. So that's what we're here for, to kind of help you along the way. So let's keep building together a life of purpose after service, so we can live royally and live well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.